What's the secret to flirting in the Me Too era?
Guys, I've been saying this all along. I'm perfect. Ask a dating coach.
Still mind blown that a dating coach said to be like Brent.
We got special guest Connell Barrett joining us, Mr. Dating Coach himself, and he is from New York on Zoom, and he's joining us on I'll Have a Double, and it starts right now. What is up? I am Juan B.
I am Brent Crable.
I am Jesse Cool.
Before you do anything, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe and holler at us on our YouTube channel. Comments, interact with us. Let us know that we are in the building. Let us know that you guys are watching. We appreciate that. Shout out to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all you guys. And thank you guys for listening to our podcast every week. And as we talk about all the time on our show, we always want someone smarter than us on our show.
Not hard to do.
It's not that
easy.
difficult. Yep. But I think we have someone who may be a little smarter than us. Although when it comes to dating, we got about 30 plus years of dating experience in this room.
Well,
right now.
and also if you count the dates, that's like 7 in doggy years. So I don't know. It's like 2,100 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know.
And that's an animal fact. Animal fact.
Well, hey, our guest today has spent a lot of years training with the world's best relationship and self-development experts. He, Brent, has a mission. One mission.
Okay.
Is to help defeat loneliness and attract their soulmates as their most authentic and confident selves.
I think John F. Kennedy said that.
I think Connell said it first.
Oh.
He's the founder and executive coach of datingtransformation.com. This man has had publications in like Maxim, Playboy.
Ooh.
First of all, I didn't know they had articles in Playboy.
Who's reading a Maxim and going like, gee, I really need to know how to date
or Playboy.
Well,
how to date them.
Yeah. I would subscribe to that.
So it's a good idea that he's in there, right?
Yeah. He's been in Cosmo. He's Esquire. He's been in O Magazine. He knows Oprah.
God damn.
We got to ask him about that.
Oh,
he knows Oprah. And then he's been on TV shows like Access Hollywood and The Today Show.
Wow.
We got someone that's been on The Today Show that's joining us right now. And he got his forthcoming book coming out, Dating Sucks, But You Don't. And he is with us today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Connell Barrett.
Hey, guys. Juan, Brent, Jesse, thanks for having me. That was an amazing intro.
Oh,
that was such a nice intro. I think that I'm actually too good for the show, so I'm just going to actually delete.
Thank you.
You stop it.
Well, kidding. Thanks for having me.
That would be our most successful podcast.
Yeah, so
I just walk off.
I think the first question that I have is like, at what point did you say, you know what, I need to start helping people, dating, or how did you become a dating coach? How did that all start?
It started because first I had to fix all the problems I had with women and dating. I was mostly dateless up until my early 30s, except for one woman who married me, and then she dumped me 9 weeks after our wedding.
Oh. You didn't have
and
a
if there's
baby,
one,
though, right?
No, we didn't have time. Didn't have time for that. And if there's one thing a man never wants to hear during the newlywed period, it's something that a coworker said to me, a guy I worked with at the time. He said, "Hey, I saw your wife today on the back of another guy's Harley." So that was definitely a bad sign. So after my marriage ended and I struggled with the friend zone and approach anxiety and all the things that guys can struggle with dating, I decided to finally fix this. And I began to travel the world working with cool coaches, working with some sketchy pickup artists, a little bit of everything. I just wanted to try everything. I just wanted to figure out what worked. And I finally kind of transformed my confidence, my ability to be my best authentic, attractive self with women. And once I realized how cool and awesome and amazing this is, I said, I gotta bottle this and teach it. And that's what the book is. It's a bottle of how to be confident, how to flirt, and how to get your girlfriend, the kind of girlfriend you've always wanted.
I have so many questions already. When you traveled the world and you were, I guess, how does that start? How do you go like, God, I'm not having any success in the dating world. Fuck it. I'm going to travel across the seas to meet someone to show me how to date, or you know what I mean? Like, where does this start? And
it started in a Starbucks here in New York City on a Sunday afternoon, just like today, around the same time. I saw this beautiful brunette sitting by herself with her iced coffee in the middle of the Starbucks with a open, empty chair next to her. And I tried so hard to approach her. She was totally my type. She looked like my crush at the time, which was Katie Holmes, before Tom Cruise
I
got
was about to
his
say,
claws in her.
pre or post?
Pre-Cruise, so before she was
That was a
entered
Happy
the
Homes.
cult. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I really, really wanted to talk to this girl. And I didn't approach her, but I tried to approach her. I actually circled her chair 2 or 3 times, trying to get up the courage, but something held me back. I kept thinking, what if I'm creepy? What if people see me get shot down? I was afraid of rejection. And that very night, I went online and started just Googling for coaches who work with guys in this area. So I didn't say I'm going to travel the world that day, but that day I did say, I'm going to learn how to approach women and find out why I don't have the confidence and what it takes. And then that was my gateway drug moment, where that led to this journey of, I've got to go deeper and deeper. So the world traveling was sort of part of me going down the rabbit hole of meeting all these approaching and dating experts.
You know, all I can think about right now is you walking around this table, like looking at her the whole time. You're just like walking around going
and going like I don't want to be creepy and do the but meanwhile as you're walking
circling
around, she's like, what the fuck is this guy walking
he's literally
around
mumbling,
me?
I don't want to be creepy as he said it. I don't want to be creepy. What's what I'm saying.
What's not creepy? What's creepy about saying I don't want to be creepy? I don't want to be creepy. One of the things I learned, it's in my book, is I call it the 3-second rule. If you're going to approach, you got to do it in 3 seconds or less. Because if you don't, you're going to get in your head. And you know, the longer you wait, the heavier the weight, the harder it is to do it. So you just got to do it.
I agree with this.
I didn't realize that.
I agree with this also in a sense of, have you ever like been in a circle of friends and say like, it's us three, but y'all don't know each other. And like we walk up and we're saying, you know, hi to each other, and I'm like, yo, and if Juan doesn't like introduce himself, or you don't introduce yourself within like the first 3 to 5 seconds, the train passes, and you can't like, you just have to keep talking like as if you kind of know each other, and then the whole time you're like, I don't fucking know this person. But you can't go like, hey, like I'm, you know.
Yeah, it's too late now.
It's too late.
Yeah, that train's passed.
You gotta hit it. You gotta hit it then. I like
3 seconds.
3-second rule. It's a good rule.
Well, I want to one of the first things when it comes to the book. I want to go ahead and get this in, because on this podcast, Brent has said numerous of times that nice guys finish last. He is very adamant about it, and so it was funny when I read, you know, in your book, and you talked about nice guys finish first. So can you kind of like dive into that a little bit and see if you can change Brent around?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest myths in dating is that nice guys can't have success with women. And I think the truth of that is, well, guys who are cowardly in their behavior, or guys who supplicate or put a woman on a pedestal, those guys are going to struggle. But that you can be nice, but still have strength. Here was my big epiphany, a big breakthrough. I met a woman named Julie. She's a Maxim model and an actress, and just one of those West Coast stunners, right? And she and I were talking one night, and she said, you know what? I love nice guys. I think nice guys are sexier than 6-pack abs, as long as they have a backbone, as long as they have some leadership qualities, as long as he doesn't just kiss my ass and say what I want him to hear, as long as he leads me on the kind of date I want. She's like, we're dying for nice guys to talk to us. She's speaking on behalf of beautiful women. We're so sick of arrogant, douchey, toxic men. We would love a nice guy as long as he has a backbone. And that's part of what my book is about. It's about, hey, you can be that nice, genuine guy you are, but you still have to have some strength. You have to bring something to the table and have the courage and confidence and strength to be your real self. And look, I'm the nicest guy in the world. I mean, I literally help little old ladies cross the street with their consent, of course. I don't force myself on them, but I'm like a nice guy from Ohio. But I've done pretty amazing with women because I know how to channel and show that backbone, that strength. And women get the best of both worlds. The nice guy who's lovey-dovey and sweet, but also a man. And of course, women want to be with a man.
So I will agree. When I talk about the nice guy not finishing, or the nice guy that finishes last, I'm talking about the guy that's and forgive me for my language, the guy that's a pussy, the guy that like won't, like, he's too nice, he won't make a he won't make a move, he won't speak up, he won't he won't call the shots. That's what I mean, right? And I like
Totally.
And a lot of times, I mean, I guess I'm the show douchebag, yeah, for sure. But at the same time, if I take out a girl, like I'm still nice, like I'm still gonna be accommodating for the night and what they want, and like very nice to where they're not gonna be like, oh, that guy's an asshole. But I'm gonna be like pointed and like know the direction. And when I say the nice guys finish last, it's the guy that's like, well, what do you want to do? And he's just constantly, he doesn't know what he wants, right? And those guys will finish last because I think we all know, like a woman wants you to know what you like. She wants you to have a plan. You know what you want, right? That's what is attractive to them.
Yeah. Well, and there is something that I say on the show a couple times, that he who hesitates masturbates. Ooh. So.
Right. Yeah, you've got to be decisive.
Juan hasn't masturbated in a decade.
Yeah. Sure, we'll go with that.
I think that a lot of women, the women who do date assholes, quote unquote assholes, the not nice guys who sometimes steal the girl, let's call them bad boys or assholes. The reason why women are attracted to those guys, it's not the abusive, asshole-ish behavior. It's the fact that that's a signal that he's got strength. Okay, he's a jerk, but at least he tells it like it is. He doesn't take my shit. He leads. So I say, let's give women the best of both worlds. Let's be a nice, solid guy, like any of you three, I'm assuming, and myself for sure. Let's be a nice, solid guy, but also a little backbone, strength. Yeah. It's a cliche, but be authentic, be yourself, because you can basically steal some of the bad boy moves. And there's tips in the book how to give women these little fun emotional spikes that make them giggle and flirt back and like you. That's what the bad boys do naturally, because they're just kind of speaking their mind. I want nice guys to basically steal the bad boy's leather jacket and put it on, but still be his awesome, good self. And that's what women want. Women don't want the asshole. They want the nice guy with that backbone and strength.
So basically, this is like the scene from Revenge of the Nerds, where the nerdy dude bangs that chick in the cave or whatever. I don't know.
For those out there that remember Revenge of the Nerds.
Hey, anything that makes me think of young Kim Cattrall, I'm in a happy place.
Hey.
You just hit it on, man. Mannequin? What?
Mannequin.
Oh my God, Mannequin.
Oh,
Mannequin. I think I started puberty during Mannequin. She's
you started puberty right then and there. Like Kim Cattrall kicked it in.
It's either Mannequin or Flashdance with the leg warmer scene.
I like it.
That's why I love 80s parties for that reason.
Yes.
Yep.
Same. Before you move
Absolutely.
Before you move on, Juan, so back just to stay on this just for 1 second. So the bad boy, good guy, like, I mean, I think we could spend a whole podcast on this, but what, like, when you're talking to the guys about, like, stealing some of the bad boy moves or whatever, what about the guy that is the bad boy but maybe doesn't want to be? What is your advice to him?
Nice.
Be nice but be nice, but lead. I think the word is lead the date, lead the conversation, lead the date somewhere, have it go somewhere. Last night I had a great date. I went out with a girl on a second date, and we had tapas. We went to another bar. We went to a different spot in that bar. We went to my rooftop for drinks. I just led her on the journey we both wanted it to go, without any weirdness or like weird alpha male bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly. I took her to my seduction location. Anyway, so for that, that's a really deep question you just asked, because part of my journey learning about this stuff was I worked with all these guys who said, Connell, go out and be an asshole. Go out and be a dick to women. You're too nice. And I said, well, okay, I'll do what my coach says. That's why I'm paying him. And I went out he told me to go out for a month. I lasted less than 2 weeks. And I went out and I was really polarizing. And I would say these really aggressive, assertive things. Like a woman would be dancing at the bar and I would point at her and go, no dancing. Like, I don't know, whatever the fuck that is. That was a move I learned. And women looked at me like I was an alien. I felt like an idiot. It didn't work. And it was when a woman very rightfully poured a half a pitcher of ice water down my shirt because I was being such a douchebag.
Damn.
Wow.
When I said, you know what? Let
Who
me
ordered
try
the ice
to-"
water? The pitcher of ice water.
Actually,
That's the real question.
it was sitting on a waiter
Gotcha,
station nearby.
gotcha.
I realized, I think there's a better way. So
Yeah.
to that guy, I would say, look, dude, the reason why you're being an asshole, you're putting on a mask because you think that's what women want. And take that mask off and show her something that's more vulnerable, but combined with that strength and backbone that we talked about.
Yeah.
That's what women want.
Yeah, well, Connor, we got story time. I did the same thing. I was living in Vegas, and I was out there for about a month and a half, and it just wasn't working out for me from the dating world. And all I saw was all the douchebags, the dudes that was sleeved all the way up, like they were getting all the girls, and I thought that I was being too nice. So I said, you know what, I'm going to act like them for about a week and just see what happens.
You got a fake sleeve.
Yeah, I know, right? Get the fake sleeve. And I went out there, and I literally mimicked them, and the shit was working. I mean, it was really working, but I didn't like it because I wasn't being myself. You know what I mean? And then I kind of like looked at the girls going, wow, why would you be with somebody that would act this way? But it was literally working, but I did not enjoy it. I mean, part of it I enjoyed, but at the end of the day, I didn't really enjoy it because I felt like I wasn't being myself, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we talk about this on the show all the time about, women complain about douchebags all the time, but you never see a douchebag by himself. He always got women. You know what I'm saying? And so when we see the girls here in Dallas, I don't know what it's like really in New York. I know Jesse has spent a lot of time in New York, but it just seems like, especially here in Dallas, it seems like those guys are rewarded so much here in Dallas. The douchebag dudes, women complain about them day and night, but yet those dudes are always with the girls. They're always with the girls that guys like us that are single want to be dating. They're already dating those guys. Yeah. But they complain about them the entire time. And they complain about them the entire time.
They complain about those guys.
Yeah.
But yet they're with those guys.
They're with those guys. Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Right. Well, no, those guys do have success in the right context because, especially like in an approach setting or a club setting, because a douchey outgoing quote unquote alpha male, that might be his natural self. Maybe he's really extroverted, which is fine. I mean, that will work with some women because he's going to get attention. He's going to get women reacting to him. And that expressiveness, that sort of bigness that an extroverted guy has can be very powerful. However, my sweet spot is coaching more introverted guys who are more in their head, more not naturally the life of the party. And what I teach them in my coaching and in the book and just sort of in life in general is how to unlock a side of you that actually is way more assertive and outgoing than you might think. Yes, introverts do struggle at the start of, say, a night out meeting women, but once you get some momentum using the system that I teach and talk about in my book, once you start taking action, that introverted, judgmental, passive part of your brain switches off, and all of a sudden you just light up and become what I call the higher self.
Nice.
Because every one of us, all three of you and myself, we all have a version of ourselves that is us at our most authentic, dialed in, present, and amazing. Even the introverted guy. And once we get out of that headspace from that lower doubting self into this, what I call radically authentic higher self, then you're just as attractive as the douchebags, but you get to be a nice guy too. Hope that makes sense, at least in theory.
Yeah, basically, if I could sum it up, guys, he is Marty McFly coaching George McFly how to beat out Biff.
How to take Biff out.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Hey, you. Get
your
your damn hands off her.
Jesus. All right.
Yep. I have a DeLorean, and I hang out with an old physicist. That's, just who I am.
Marty!
Can you play the guitar, too? Are you friends with...
I do. My guitar is sitting right over here. Your listeners don't want to hear it. But I can.
Well, you touched on two other things that I know you talked about in your book. You mentioned self-doubt. I really, when I saw that, I thought about how, we talk about on the show, like, women think sometimes men are just these Neanderthals that just wake up in the morning and grunt and just go out there and just, hunt and then grab women and put them on our shoulders and take them home. They don't understand that there's some vulnerabilities with men. There's reasons why we do do. I did say do
Yeah.
things. You know what I mean? It's not just
Right.
it's not just we just do them just because. Like there's reasons behind it, the way we grew up, who we were around, who raised us, all of these things. So when we talk about self-doubt, rarely people look at men having like these type of insecurities and things like that when we're out in the world dating, jobs like that. But so talk to us a little bit about, you know, from a man standpoint of like how you deal with men that may have self-doubt.
Oh, I think I shouldn't say every, the majority of straight single men, for that matter, straight men period, have a real deep-seated fear of not being enough for women, of not feeling attractive. I think this is something that's wired into all of us. There's really 2 or 3 ways men feel like men, right? Or 2 or 3 big ways: money, career, success, fitness, muscles, being strong, and women, being attractive to women. And this was the core marrow deep fear that was the reason why I could not approach that woman at Starbucks. And to give your listeners, that guy who's listening to this, who wants to approach a woman or who wants to take some kind of romantic risk, but he doesn't do it, the reason is not because he doesn't know what to say. The reason is not because he's in his head and isn't witty. It's because he fears that if she rejects him, he's going to find out he's not enough. And if he finds out he's not enough, this is a story, not the truth, but if he finds out he's not enough, he will say to himself, I guess I'm going to have to settle or be alone. And that's an existentially scary thing to deal with when you're approaching a woman. So what happens is the cause of approach anxiety is this existential moment of reckoning where it's not you walking up to a girl, it's you finding out if you're worthy of attractive women. That's fucking scary. So what I help guys do is realize, you know what? You've got outdated software that's creating these doubts. You've got Windows 97 dating software. We need to update it to the new iPhone X something operating system. And sure, there's still going to be butterflies when you approach or have a date or go for that first kiss.
Yeah.
But what we don't want is that existential angst. So the first thing is to start reprogramming your mind and realizing the ways that you are enough for the kinds of women you want to date. When you can do that, approaching becomes so much easier because it's not judgment day on your worth as a man. It's just talking to a cute girl at a bar.
I like it. My one question is I feel like there's kind of a flip side of the guy that maybe is not afraid to approach a girl. Maybe he's confident, but he's afraid that what if she accepts his advances and then she'll realize that he doesn't have his shit together or doesn't have the money or doesn't have everything that his confidence
Like a
gives
fake
off.
persona type thing?
Maybe that, or maybe just like he's like almost like he hits on her, and if she turns him down, fine. But if she accepts, it's like, oh shit, like
Now what?
Like, what if she like, what if she like digs a little too deep?
Peek behind the curtain and see all the clothes that you just stashed in the other room. You didn't really clean your house. You just moved everything.
Okay,
into
don't
another
talk
room.
about my closet, all right? But yeah,
Well, come out the closet then, Brent.
Wow, that was a good one. But what about? I feel like that one. That's another element that I think is something that a lot of guys probably deal with too.
So can you stay with this guy for a second, if you would, Brent? What might be 1 or 2 of the things he's afraid that she'll find out?
I guess in this scenario, like what if he isn't as successful as she thinks? What if he I don't know. What if he isn't as good in bed or as good as
small
this
penis.
or what if that's or what? Any of those.
Okay.
Like, there's 4 or 5 things that guys like really like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That really trigger a guy. What if it's one of those?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's essentially the same essential fear. It's just not existential. It's not an identity fear.
Mm-hmm.
The identity fear that I described is, oh no, I hope I don't find out I'm not good enough for women. The guy who's worried about, oh, what if she finds out I'm not rich? Or what if she finds out I live with my mom or whatever it is? That guy has more of a situational limiting belief. He might tell himself a story that, you know what? The only guy that women like that go for have to make 6 figures a year. Now, she may or may not want a rich guy, but that's a limiting belief that holds him back. Or it might be, oh, she wouldn't want to date me. I live with my family. I have a client actually who does live with his family right now. And he was so in his head about this when he first came to me. This was keeping him from approaching women, to your point, Brent, because he was afraid that, hey, I can't bring her home. I can't admit this. And we looked at it and realized he's actually supporting his family. He brought them into his home during COVID as a way to support them, which is a total reframe.
Yeah.
But in his head, I'm under the roof with mom, so that means I'm not good enough.
Oh, wow.
And we have to go through and kind of pull out these weeds, pull out these viruses, whatever the analogy is, and notice what holds us back and say, wait a minute, okay, maybe I'm not making $100,000 a year or $1 million or whatever. But guess what? Does every woman need a super rich guy? How many of those sleeved douchey guys that you talked about, are all those guys rich and successful, or are some of them probably sleeping on couches?
Well, yeah, exace. Sleeping on couches, by mom's basements. Yeah, all of that.
Well, and we know, like the guy he was describing. We know somebody personally that would hold themselves back of like, I used to be in shape, or this and that, and we would be like, dude, like, they don't care, like, just be the guy that we know, and like the girls are gonna, like, you know what I mean, like,
or I got a kid,
or I'm like, these are excuses, like they don't care, like, because at the core, this person was a good person, funny, hilarious, confident, like all these things, but held themselves back by the exterior things that you were talking about, like, I'm not in shape, or I'm not making over 100, whatever, these things that I think you can overcome.
Yeah, I like something you said about when we were talking about being alone or settle.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that you said settle, because we talk about not settling on the show all the time. When you say settle, what is your definition of settling when it comes to a man in relationships and dating?
Yeah, I mean, it can mean a few things. For me, it meant getting married to a woman I didn't love because I thought she was the only one who wanted me. So I settled for that because that felt better at the time than being alone, than being by myself. And settling can also mean, well, man, I can't get a date with the kind of beautiful quality woman that I really want. So I guess I'll settle for this, like, plain Jane. No disrespect to women who aren't beautiful. They deserve love too. Yeah. And Janes, exactly. I'm a big fan of Janes. So the most common form of settling, I think, is settling for a lack of options and or a lack of quality options in your life. Basically, like, well, I guess I'll not marry, but I guess I'll date this. I rarely use the number system, but in his mind, let's say she's a 5 to him, right? Guess I'll date Fran the 5.
Yeah.
And her name's Fran? Oh my God! Of course she's a 5.
Fran? Oh, Fran.
Because date Fran the 5 because I'm too afraid or doubtful to even try it with Nanette the 9. So and having Nanette reject him. Having Nanette reject him would really hurt.
Right.
Going back to that existential thing. So he doesn't even try, so he settles with Fran. And I have a friend named Fran. Fran, I'm not talking about you, by the way.
Yeah. Ain't no Nanette.
This is kind of this is like, you would go to the club or the bar, and you're single guys. You're with me in this.
Yeah.
You're there and you're looking at girls, and you're talking about the girls over there across the bar that are hot, and you're talking about them, but you don't go and approach them. You're talking about it, then you make excuses like, whether this or that, or like, she's probably got a boyfriend or whatever, and like,
my friend's gonna tear me apart if I go over there.
Whatever the case is, rather than just going over there and shooting your shot. Maybe a brick. Who cares? But it's that sort of thing, right? Rather than instead, then you turn around and whatever. Then maybe you go hit on some chick that's not the girl that you wanted to talk to. Rather than just going straight up to the girl that you wanted the whole time, shooting your shot.
Yeah.
It goes in or not.
Totally. Well, that's a great analogy, the sports analogy of shooting your shot. The best baseball players, 7 out of 10 times they don't get a base hit.
Yep.
7 out of 10 times they fail at the plate, quote unquote fail. But that'll get them in the Hall of Fame. And what a lot of guys do is they don't think of approaching. Let's stick with approaching for the moment. They think that approaching one bad reaction, two bad reactions is going to feel so existentially painful that they don't even try again. What if Tom Brady threw an interception and then just retired? Like he never would have won a Super Bowl. The rules of the game are set up. Yeah, the rules of the game are set up so that you aren't supposed to attract every woman. In fact, you probably won't attract most women. Even the coolest, best-looking guys, he's going to get blown out plenty of the time, like Brent. So, but what stops that guy is from taking action. That example you just gave of, oh, you know what, those girls are hot, but let me get another drink first. Or, hey, let me just go back to the bathroom.
Right.
I once went out, when I was first getting into this, I went out one night without my coach, who wasn't there to push me. I spent about 3 hours in the bathroom.
What?
I'm not talking I had a stomach virus. I mean, I was so afraid to approach women that I would walk around the bar, look at 5 women I wanted to approach, and then I'd be like, maybe I'll run in the bathroom and just wash my hands a little bit. I was basically hiding from approaching. What was I really hiding from? I was hiding from what rejection might feel like in my mind.
Yeah.
So what I want guys to do is say, you know what? And that's because basically I was looking at it as a win-lose. Heads, I win. She likes me. Tails, I suck. I'm ugly. I'm unattractive. So we have to change that script to heads, I win. She likes me. I get a date. That'd be amazing. Tails, I just put a brick in the wall of my character as a man. Or I just got a great story.
Right.
Or at least I manned up and my friends are over there at the bar and I'm taking action, which feels great. So we reprogram our brains to make it a win-win.
Yeah, and I think what you just said, like that's one of the two is. So I think that most of the time we put a bigger onus on the loss than the win, right?
Yes.
Like striking out has way more weight than winning, when in reality it doesn't. It's the same. But also, like, if you notice when you go out with your friends who are in relationships, married, whatever, like at the end of the day, they don't really care whether you get the girl or not.
Right.
But what they do care about, what means more to them, like if you go up and talk to a girl and try and swing and miss, like, you know, they might rag on you for a bit, but they'll respect that. But they won't.
Hell yeah.
What they won't respect is the guy that will talk about wanting to do that but never does. That guy is the guy that you know, they'll be like, you know. So I don't know. I think it's like taking, like, look, you're probably gonna lose a lot. A win is better than a loss. Stop worrying about the loss. Just go do it. And doing it is, in fact, going and talking to a girl. That's the win. Regardless of the outcome, the win is the fact that you went and shot your shot. That's the win.
Yep. Everything
that happens after that is just, you know, it's just, you know, either icing on the cake or it's just a cause of whatever's going on. But the win is the approach, right?
Absolutely. Totally. I mean, Mickey Mantle hit 536 home runs. He also struck out 1,500 times. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to get those home runs is to strike out now and then, and maybe not even see it as a strikeout. See it as, hey, at least I swung the bat.
Yeah.
Right.
But most guys are not even stepping up to the plate because of those fears we talked about. So what do we do? First, simply understand, oh, this is what's happening inside of me. This is why I'm so afraid. Okay. Now I'm going to take right action. And I think maybe the most common question I get as a dating coach is, Connell, how can I be more confident? How do I get the confidence to approach or to make the move or be that guy? And the answer is you have to earn that confidence. Courage. Courage is a currency that buys you confidence. I'll say that again. Courage is currency that buys you confidence. I had no confidence when I started approaching women, but after my first 100 approaches, all right, I used courage to do them, hands shaking, forehead sweating, but I got some good results. I got some ice water poured down my shirt. I dealt with it. And then after 100, 500, 1,000, whatever the number was, I was like, hey, I feel differently. I've changed. I've grown. And that confidence was there, but I had to invest in it. And you can't basically talk yourself into confidence. You have to act yourself into confidence.
When I was 19, a local pimp.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. a local pimp gave me some advice. Yeah. And
Never heard this.
yeah. And so
Get you one of these.
He said, look here, player. He said, if you struggling about, trying to holler at girl, he said, so find the baddest girl in the room, right?
Yep.
He said, what you do is you got levels. He said, so you got the baddest chick over here, find the ugliest girl you see in the room, and you start with her. You holler at her and work your way up over to her. He said, because by the time you get to her, he said, you're all lathered up, you got your words together, and you ready to go. That's pretty much what you said. You're quoting a pimp right now.
Thank you. I quote all the greats. Shakespeare, Hemingway,
Pimp
and
Lucius.
And Lucius.
and all the pimps, all the pimps.
Yeah.
That's a
By
good.
the
That's a good strategy.
I mean,
I like that strategy.
No offense to like ugly girl or whatever you mean, but I'm just saying he was basically saying like start out with someone that you're not really that interested in, as far as getting the warm up line, getting the layups in, stretching out, to get ready to go over there.
Totally.
Don't just go over there just cold, not warmed up and just going head first. For those that struggle with that.
And the nice thing about that tip, whether he knew it or not, is if you small chunk it that way, if you start again, I don't use a number system, but whatever. If you start with the 5s and 6s just to get loose, then guess what? You start to feel what you feel like when you're free from needing an outcome, right? That's the nice thing about what Fran the 5 can do for you. Let's talk to Fran the 5 for a few minutes. Feel that sense of, oh, wow, my words are getting wittier. I feel loose. I feel fun. Now when you walk up to the quote unquote hotter girls, you have a reference point for what you want to feel like.
Yeah.
Now you might not be as chill as you were with the 5, but at least you're getting some of that social momentum. And talk to 10 different women, and after a while, your brain switches off what their number is, and you're just completely amazingly awesome with all of them. And that's when the magic happens, because the way you want to talk to the 9.9 is the way you talk to the 5, which is no pressure, no all good either way. Maybe we'll hit it off, maybe we won't. Exactly. But you got to follow a process. Just to totally give you another fun technique, completely opposite of what your pimp told you, is just something to try. You can also do it the other way. Sometimes I'll take my client out, this is pre-COVID, soon post-COVID, is we're in a bar, we're in a club, we're in a lounge, and I say, all right, who is the scariest, most intimidating woman you see here? Who is the least approachable and most beautiful woman here? He might point to whoever, a gorgeous model stunner sitting in the roped off section surrounded by 4 other hot women and 7 guys, right? Guess who he's got to approach to start the night off?
Wow, to start the night off.
One of those
first
guys?
one. The first one. It's like swinging. It's like swinging 5 baseball bats.
Yeah.
And a really cool thing can happen if you do that, because your comfort zone for the whole night all of a sudden massively expands. You're pretty much guaranteed a quote rejection.
Yeah.
But not always, but probably. And that frees you from outcome, and you give fewer shits. And then you can talk to anyone else the rest of the night.
Wow, that's great.
Which is really powerful.
I like that a lot.
It really is. I mean, all of this is like psychology, right?
Yeah.
And in a sense of like, if you go and you do the hardest thing first, now the next time that 2 girls walk in and clearly single, you're gonna be on top of your game. But what I was gonna ask is, as a dating coach, do you ever give a guy because I've always thought like the best tool a guy can have is a girl that appears like his girlfriend, but it's your friend or whatever. But anytime a guy is with a girl and it's like, and she's attractive and it seems like y'all have a thing, all of a sudden,
you're the most attractive person in the room.
every girl's into you, right? Every single girl is into you. And probably thinking it's your girlfriend, which is another whole fucked up situation. But anyways, like that thing just takes the edge off. Do you ever give that approach, or does that have a name?
Totally.
I don't know. What is this? The Bonnie and Clyde routine?
I like that. There's a chapter in the book called Advanced Ninja Moves. And one of the moves is basically what you said, is I teach guys how to go out, get a wing woman, what the pickup artist community used to call a pivot, but I like the word wing woman better, because you're right. If you have a wing woman with you, an attractive friend who's with you, she can approach women for you. And a beautiful woman talking to another beautiful woman, it's like a knife through butter.
That's very beautiful.
It hooks beautifully, as they say. The interest hooks. And so, look, I think I'm the world's best dating coach. If I didn't think that, I wouldn't have written a book. But I'm not as good as a really cool wing woman. I can't help a guy as much because guess what? I'm a dude. So, I recommend anybody listening to this. Here's a good tip: find a relatively attractive female friend who would be open to going out with you. Find some way to give value to her life, whether it's buying her drinks for the night or just trading favors in some way. And the cool thing about women is most of them love to do this kind of thing. They love matchmaking and being out there in the game. And another thing your wing woman can do, take it to share another tip with your guys listening to this, is you turn your wing woman into your date recruiter even when you're not with her. Yeah. She's out in the town. She meets a cool woman. Send a triple text. Wing woman texts you and texts beautiful woman, beautiful new woman. Hey, Jenny, you have to meet my friend Rick. Rick, this is Jenny. I think you guys might get along. Boom. You just had a matchmaker essentially hook you up. Yeah. And you're at home watching Anchorman while this is happening. So you don't even have to be out. Your wing woman is delivering for you. So it's like, I think in the book, I call it basically recruiting your own mini matchmaker. Mm-hmm. And a woman is great at that. Women are great at that.
Well, it's funny because a couple of weeks ago, I met this gentleman, and he was from San Antonio, and he was like, "Hey, man, I just moved to Dallas. You know, I don't really know a lot of people." And we got to talking, and there was a bartender that he had met once, and she was working there, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to, get a chance to ask her out and this and that." I said, "Don't ask her out."
Yeah.
I said, "Become friends with her."
Yeah.
I said, she is gonna be your magic bullet. I said, "Don't try to date her.
That's a good.
Be friends with her. Make her." I said, "I know she's hot. Just trust me. There's more of them." I'm like, if y'all become friends, she is gonna take care of you more than she can take care of you.
And if you ask her out and it gets awkward, now you can't go to that bar.
Right.
So be her friend, because then, best case scenario, maybe she's like, why isn't he asking me out? You know what I mean? And
long game.
Yeah, long game. I've heard this before.
Can I share a tip? Can I share another tip?
Just a tip.
Just a tip.
Another tip from the book, but here it is right here. Find a place that becomes what I call your home field advantage, where the bartender, preferably attractive women, but could be dudes too. You know the bartender, you know the waitresses, you know the host. Your Norm from Cheers.
Yeah.
And bring your dates there.
Yeah.
Your date will see the way people react to you. Brent, how you doing? Long time no talk. Maybe the waitress flirts with you a bit. You shoot the shit.
Yeah. It's fedora.
And what this does is not only are you going to be comfortable there because it's your spot, your date's going to see other people, especially women, approving of you. Social proof. There's also something called pre-selection. Pre-selection is when a woman sees other women liking you.
Yep.
Even if it's not sexual, just liking you socially, all of a sudden she'll become more connected, more attracted to you. I was on my first date with a girl who became my girlfriend, Kat. And I didn't set it up this way. It just happened to be one of those good nights where everybody who I knew was there. We were on a date at my local bar, and 3 or 4 different people came up to me, high-fived me, said hi, met her, said, "Watch out for this ginger. He's bad news." And then at the end of the night, she said, everybody loves you. Mm-hmm. She felt like remember that scene in Goodfellas when Ray Liotta takes Karen on that first date where they go to the Copa and he's the man and she's...
They go through the kitchen.
You can get that kind of vibe with a date.
Yeah.
You can get that kind of vibe on a first date if you find a place that's your home field advantage where they know you and like you, because women notice men who are selected by other people.
And I think the home field advantage is huge. I mean, because as a guy, it's you're the one taking them on a date, so why not go play?
Right.
Why go play in Seattle if you don't have to?
Right. It's raining there. It's cold.
Raining. It's cold. Like you have your own home field in your backyard.
Yeah.
Use it to your advantage.
And you look better in home white anyway than road blue.
Yeah, and use it to your advantage. You're gonna feel more comfortable and confident. Like use it.
I think the opposite. What happens is sometimes you take them out somewhere and they know everybody there.
Yeah.
And all the dudes are hugging on her.
Been there.
Hey girl, I ain't seeing you, girl. You look at you, girl. Turn around. Let me see what you're working.
See, I was gonna bring that up because I think that's the ironic part of this is when you take a girl on a date and it's your home field and everyone knows you and girls are hitting on you, or not hitting on you, but you know what I mean. It's just
showing you love,
whatever. Yeah. But it's a turn on for them. Whereas if a girl were to control that and it's her home field and guys are coming in, everybody, and then all of a sudden a guy feels a little like, Like, whoa, what the
Yeah.
what the you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that just kind of shows our insecurity in that sense, I guess.
As a general rule, I do agree that if possible for that at least that first date, bring her into your world rather than enter hers.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying
You might not come
don't
back.
ever. Yeah, exactly.
Labyrinth.
I'm not saying don't go to her party and meet her friends, but for that first date, men, we want to basically show her a world that we want her to invite her into.
Aladdin. We call it the Aladdin world.
Exactly. Right. Take her on your magic carpet ride.
Yeah.
Meet her friends, meet her crew later, but bring her into your world first, because women and men, I feel like my model of this is you want to bring her into your movie, right? Your Goodfellas movie,
Now
but minus the murder and violence. Bring her into your world, and then that's a stronger frame to create something from, rather than entering hers, at least from that first date or two.
Well,
That's why the home field is important.
Yeah. So then so when you're coaching, what if you have a guy that doesn't have a home field, or maybe his home field isn't. Maybe he's
Toronto
playing
Raptors.
Yeah, maybe he's in Cleveland or something. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's
you don't
not
wanna
so
go to his
friendly.
home.
You know?
You don't want to go to his
Be
home
nice
with.
to Ohio. Be nice to Ohio.
Sorry. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what if it's not? What if he doesn't have that
Neutral site, I guess.
he doesn't have that foundation of a home base, where he's everywhere is like almost like a neutral site or a visiting site.
It takes about a week. You literally go looking for a place or two that works for you.
Okay.
Walk in, take a little time, go there 2 or 3 nights, tip well, and get everybody's first name. Say, hey, I'm new to the area, or I'm new to your place. This is awesome. Basically, this is so little effort goes into this.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's effort, but it's not very much. Tip really well, not crazy, but let them remember you, notice you. You'll have that place in about a week if you don't have it yet.
Do that first. So do that first before you
It's the
have
groundwork.
a date.
The groundwork.
That's what you do before you get on Tinder, Bumble, any of that. You go, you set up shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to go even deeper, get 2 places. One place that's kind of a cool, classy cocktail spot,
And then
more
the place you go
luxe,
after.
and then like a fun down and dirty dive. One of my favorite questions to ask a girl before a first date, I have one tonight. It's so are you more of a down and dirty dive kind of girl, or are you more like a classy cocktail chick? The truth is, most women are both.
Yeah.
But I like to
dare you
know
ask
where
me
to
that?
take. I like to know where to take her first.
Yeah.
So that's home base number 1. And then what's a great thing to do on a date is be a man leading, again, that backbone, that strength we talked about. Be a man leading and say, hey, you know what? I have a great spot I think you're going to like. We should go get one more quick drink. It's totally different vibe than this place. So you take her from cool, classy cocktails to fun, crazy, raunchy dive bar. And guess what? Both places are your home bases. And her head is spinning in a nice way, because she's just like, wow, this guy's taking me on a journey. It feels like 5 dates in one, basically.
I love it. These are a lot of my moves.
Yeah.
These are a lot of my moves.
Everything that you're saying is like, I'm just like, man, I feel like I've started to kind of do it right now.
For sure.
I'm just like, damn, this
Because
is stuff-
we have done we've talked about
Me
this.
and Brent have been doing this.
and Jesse and I have been friends for a long time, and we've lived in the same area for a long time, and a lot of these are things that we would do, and sometimes we would even have late nights where we like talking to like, are we douchebags? Like, you know what I mean? But you know, not because like we were doing anything malicious or anything.
The answer is
bad.
yes. By the way.
True.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
But I mean, I think like we were doing a lot of these things and still do, and I don't. It's like, you know, it's maybe it's the not the nice guy, but the guy that's beyond the nice guy, the guy that's too scared. That those guys make guys like us feel like we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, well,
but
I
we're
used
not.
to be the guy that was like scared and like introverted and didn't literally the story that you were saying about going to the restroom to wash the hands or whatever.
Yep.
Totally, I've been there. Like just being awkward to be like, oh, I just gotta go for another pee, like the third pee of the night, right? Everything that you're saying though is like, it's funny because I
Brilliant.
keep
I
having
agree.
something that I want to ask you, and then
you should write a book.
Say it, yeah, like you should write a book on this because it's really helpful. But yeah.
I do have so many like the like you're a dating coach, right? And so you go on dates ish with your clients. Are Is it like Hitch? Are
yeah, are you
there?
in like the back with like a microphone and
Yeah,
like, all
are
right,
you,
now
like-
say this?
And you have like tassels on, and you like shock them if they say the wrong thing, like Saving Silverman.
I actually have been at the venue with a guy on a first date on the QT. She didn't know I was there, and she would run to the bathroom, and I'd walk over and give him some tips.
Wow.
And
But
she
that's
left
not
with you.
normal for me.
Damn.
Normally,
Hands-on.
it's the best kind of coaching, my favorite kind of coaching, which I'm about to start doing again. We've been on a year break for obvious reasons, COVID, is being their wingman in person, where we go to the club and we're shoulder to shoulder, meeting women, approaching. I give him missions to do. I don't have any, there's no wires involved, but I might give him something to say or whisper in his ear. There's kind of a way I can do it where I'm like talking to him, but she can't tell I'm talking to him.
Okay.
A little bit of that sort of like, quasi on a microphone in his ear. But yeah, I'm with him because I can push his comfort zone in person in ways that he's probably not going to do it. He's going to be in the bathroom maybe too long.
Well, what happens when the girl's like, I like the ginger instead? Like, what if they like you, right?
Well, that's not going to happen because I'm actually not, other than a demonstration I might do where I might kind of pour on the charm and do something for a demonstration. For the most part, my job is more disappear and just be his chill, cool buddy. That makes him seem even more awesome and magnetic. And I'm on my phone. I'm actually making notes for later, but I'm just a chill dude. And he's talking to the 9 and, I'm hanging with her friend.
Do you ever go like Fran?
Fran.
Do you ever have a client that's like, ooh, I like her, and it's like a Fran 5, and you're like, no, buddy, like, well, I didn't come all this way to coach you to talk to a Fran 5, okay?
You're paying me a lot of money an hour. I am not gonna let you leave with Fran the 5.
You are not.
Okay?
You are not talking to her.
Well, actually, what's more common, Brent, is a little bit more the opposite, which is he's talking to a genuinely cool, cute girl. But he's trying to find some excuse to not push things, make a move, take her out, get a number, pull her home, go somewhere. He's trying to find an excuse not to do it.
Yeah, he's
out
scared
of
of the
fear.
outcome.
Right. So really, I stop and I ask him, if you and she ended up in bed together tonight or soon, would this be a good thing? Because guys, we're always trying to make excuses to get ourselves out of uncomfortable situations. There's a little anecdote in my book. When I was taking dozens of these pickup courses and dating courses, there was this guy I kept running into, a fellow student, and we spent hours and hours together at these various seminars watching pickup dudes on stage teaching all these concepts. And then then you go out at night and approach and do your thing. And I think his name was Roger. And he's got like just notebooks filled with notes and theory and like tips and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to him one time. He spent many thousands of dollars, I'm sure. And I was talking to him one night and I said, oh, hey, by the way, how's the whole dating thing going? Meet any cool girls lately? And he said, oh, I haven't approached anybody yet. I'm still working on the theory.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, there's no way with that many notebooks that he's ever.
Yeah. So that kind of creative avoidance is often sort of whispering in our ear saying, oh, it's okay. You don't need to approach. You still need to learn more theory. But Bruce Lee said something close to this. I'm going to misquote him a bit, but he basically said, you can't swim on dry land. You got to get in the water. He said your mindset is not, the best mindset on dry land is not as good as swimming in the water if what you want to do is swim. So one of my rules is, if you're a guy who does get into the whole theory of it and the learning it like I did, for every hour you spend quote unquote learning, for every hour you spend reading my book, spend an hour out there dating.
Wait, I didn't see that. You did that too fast. What was that?
Yeah,
what you just hold up? What does that say? Okay.
Dating sucks, but you don't. For every hour you spend reading a book like this or watching YouTube videos or lurking on Reddit, reading tips, spend another hour in the field, approaching women or swiping or taking some real world action, because that's going to lead to the results way more than theory. Just theory why? Alone.
Because like Bruce Lee said, boards don't hit back. He said that.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to ask you about. You were talking about.
Ask you about your Bruce Lee impersonation.
Well, no, I wouldn't know. I was going there. I was not going to. No. I was not going to impersonate Bruce Lee.
Oh, you kind of did.
No, I caught myself. I caught myself. I was like, nope, don't go there.
You did say the word boards a little different.
Well, hey, we're in a woke environment. I was not gonna do it. I was about to go, and next thing you know, we're gonna get all this mail about me making fun.
Like Walter.
Sorry, all right,
Yeah,
go.
don't do
go,
it, Jesse.
Go.
So you were talking about like whether or not you sleep with her or have sex with her. Sex on the first date.
Ooh.
How you feel about it? And does that kind of ever come up, or do you tell them to shy away from it, or say, hey, if it works, it works?
Yeah. How often do you have to tell these girls, look, no, I know that you want to, but I just,
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm just a dating coach. Leave me alone. Hands off.
Right. I feel like a guy and a girl should have sex as soon as they're both comfortable having sex. That might be date 1, date 2, date 12. It might be
Steal that line.
that night. It might be months later.
Yeah.
The single most connected, beautiful, amazing sexual experience I've ever had, I write about in my book, and it was with a woman who we needed to be friends first. She'd had some trauma in the past, and it was the emotional connection that made it so powerful. So all other things equal, I would say don't rush it. Don't be that guy who's like pushing towards sex in any kind of like hurried way. But as soon as you're both comfortable and ready to do it and feel a reasonable emotional connection, then that's when to do it, whether it's date 2 or date 12 or whenever.
I have a follow-up to this. So in the new world, the 2020, 2021 world, and I know we're going to get into the Bumble and all that stuff, but the separation of dating and sex, because I think that like people go out to date, but they also go out to fuck, and that's like, you know, there's some people that are going out to get married or whatever the case is, but there's some people that are doing this, and sometimes it's a thin line of like, you know, you go out and you're having a couple of drinks and and it's like, what's to give here, right? Or do you coach your clients on like, hey, if you're only feeling this, it's probably not the right thing for you. You should be feeling a little bit more. Or I guess, what's that line that you draw?
My line is, are we both, I want a woman to know, first of all, I know this sounds corny, but it's just who I am. Total honesty and transparency. In terms of where this is going, I want her to know, hey, if I'm looking for a relationship, I'll let her know. If I'm just looking to have fun, I'll let her know in a way that's not too I don't want to kill the mood and say, hey, I'm just looking to hook up, but I'll put that in my profile, or I'll let her know. And as long as we're on the same page, I just don't want to make a woman, sex is a promise, or it can be taken as a promise from a lot of women, understandably. Sex might be a promise of, hey, this is going somewhere, potentially. And if you don't feel that way, then just let that part of you, let that be known in a reasonable way, so you can both get a sense for whether or not, hey, is this going to be a short-term fling, no pressure, just fine? Or are you looking for something more long-term and meaningful? So I'm not trying to dodge your question, but it really is totally context-driven, based on what you want, what she wants, your two psychological histories, and so it's really a case-by-case basis. But so that's why I say, when in doubt, wait.
So what's
until
the
you're both
setup on
sure.
that question? What's the setup on the, hey, are you okay with just sex? How do you
Is that how you ask it?
No, I'm asking you, because it sounds like, you know, you're very clear about that, but how do you set that up that like, hey, like, because I don't think I've ever really been in a situation, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, but
You never told
a true situation where it's just sex.
You've
I don't
definitely been in that situation where it was, but again, I don't think you posed it that way.
I don't think I understood it at that time, but I don't think I've ever been in a true situation where it's like, hey, absolutely only sex, nothing else.
Don't even look at me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've never told a girl, all I got is hard dick and a bubble gum, and that just is my last one.
I want to understand your question. Could you ask
Is this
again?
another Bruce Lee quote?
Yes, after he said, boys don't hit back, he said, all I got is hard dick and bubble gum.
Damn.
Enter the Dragon. Check it out. He said it.
God. Or was that the last round?
I'm sorry. Good question.
So
Jesse.
yeah, you were really good with words. I'm not the best with words. I feel like I want to hear your pitch or your setup on like, hey, like I really just want to have sex.
Right.
How do you have that conversation?
Well, I have a PowerPoint that I do on the date.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Yeah, it's about a 4-hour PowerPoint.
Ooh, 4
Explain
hours.
all the reasons why I'm no.
How did you find a bar with a pool down there?
No, you're wondering why I called you all here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have syntax
Yeah.
necessarily planned or anything.
Yeah.
It's more of a vibe and
Yeah.
and just an honesty. I might say, yeah, I'm back in the dating game, looking
Honesty.
to connect with cool people and see where things go.
Mhm.
I've
As
used that.
opposed to saying, or I'm looking to have fun, meet some cool people, and see who I really connect with.
Yep,
As opposed
that.
to saying, yeah, I mean, and what I say right now to women, which is totally true because I'm single and out there again, is I say, yeah, I'm looking for, Hitch is looking for his Eva Mendes. I'm looking for
Ooh.
something long term.
Yeah.
So, and that's a different message to send. And so it's not, I wouldn't get too in your head, Jesse, about the actual syntax. It's
Yeah.
more of, there's a good line I read from a writer named Chuck Klosterman. He's an Esquire writer. And he said, how do you,
Cocoa Puffs and
yeah. The tip was, what do you say to a woman you're dating when she basically gives you the, where is this going
Ultimatum.
question? And it was a really good tip.
I gotta
He
go to the
said,
bathroom and wash my hands again.
he said, tell her, if you're not yet ready to commit, he said, tell her that you are, you really like her, you're into her, and you feel like you're at the beginning of a long, intimate party. Long, intimate party. That doesn't tell her you're going to leave after the first night,
Right.
but it also doesn't tell her you're going to be her boyfriend tomorrow. It says, hey, we're going to have fun. It's intimate. It's going to be a party, and let's see how it goes, basically. That's a good
Party with no pants.
basic way.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're just looking to get experiences and get reps and have a little fun, sow some oats, there's nothing wrong with that.
Reps.
Again,
I like the reps.
You know, that's actually going to be my line. Look, hey, look, I'm
just getting my reps
I'm
in.
just out here trying to get my reps in. Okay? So
what
get some reps
I
in.
never do anymore. I did this in the past, and I'm embarrassed by it, and I wish I could go back and change it. But what I would never do is let a woman think that I wanted a relationship with her, or that I was looking for a girlfriend just so I could get laid that night.
Yeah.
That's just not me. The times I kind of let a woman feel that way, it felt kind of inauthentic and frankly selfish.
Yeah.
So it's really about just transparency. Some women are cool with low maintenance kind of hookups. Sometimes what you think is going to be a hookup becomes something really serious. The love of my life, one of the maybe two loves of my life, we hooked up the first night. We met at the Empire Hotel, came back to my place. It seemed very one night standy, and we were together for 4 or 5 years. You never know.
Yeah. It sounds like you're saying clear communication is a really
Yeah.
Yeah, I invented that. No one's ever said that before.
Yeah. It
You know, and
becomes a recurring
that's
theme
chapter
here.
number 12 in his book, Jesse, if you would read it. No, I do think that it's funny if you are clear about that, you might still be able to have the sex that you wanted,
Right.
or maybe not, or whatever else happens, rather than just sitting there and bullshitting your way through everything. You know?
Or sometimes, like we talked about before, when we're trying to hit it, we're like ignoring everything she says to us because we're trying to hit it. They're doing the opposite. They're ignoring everything we're saying because they're looking at we might be potential boyfriends. They're like, yeah, sure, just
The
having a good
sex is
time.
the bait.
Yeah. So they're like going, oh yeah, sex is fine right now, that's fine. But they're trying to lure you in, and then after you have sex, they start treating you like you guys are together. He's like, well, we had sex. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they ignore those messages that you literally told them. Hey, look, I'm just out here getting my reps.
Now, this is your other book, though, right? Because the book that you have is for guys. I want to see the book that you have for girls.
Yeah. What would that be called?
That's the Helen Keller Guide to Success.
Yeah, the Helen. I don't coach women for the most part. I don't know enough. I know everything about women in terms of dating them.
Yeah.
In terms of coaching them, that's not really my jam.
Have you been on any other podcasts for like female podcasts that kind of throw some curveballs at you that you've had to like?
No, I've done I've done several.
Yeah, hit it out of the
I
park.
love talking. I love the female audience because they're big champions of my message. Because my message is, hey, be a solid, cool, authentic, real gentleman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But being a man, and I think one of you alluded to the Me Too era a little while ago. Sex and dating in 2021. And I think one of the myths about the Me Too era that men need to be aware of is It's not that Me Too is not women saying men should be pussies or be safe or
Right.
not make moves. It's really more about empathy. It's empathizing with what the Me Too movement is, which is it's about the harassment and abuse of
Right.
women and girls.
Right.
It's not about us guys. It's about women. So let's first don't be the guy. Oh God, don't be this guy. Don't be the guy who says on a first date, "Well, you have to kiss me because I don't want to get in trouble."
Ooh.
Women hate that.
Ooh.
Hate that. So don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Instead, understand what Me Too is about and understand that you can still make moves.
Mhm.
Women still want men to be men as long as there's that empathy or you notice how she feels. You don't escalate if she's like not comfortable. You pull
Right.
back.
Yeah.
But you make the move as well. Women still want us to be men, guys. They just want us to be men with empathy.
No means no. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
Of course.
good
Of course.
way to just live by. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If she says no, stop.
And women love it when a guy hears that and stops.
Yeah.
No doesn't mean no forever. It might just mean, hey, I'm not comfortable yet.
Yeah.
Give me some time.
Yeah,
and that
didn't
actually
shave or
can,
something, you know? Who knows?
Yeah, it just
they
means
got
no.
reasons, they got other reasons why they
Oh,
might
yeah.
say no.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like no,
Yeah.
like this is not the time. Not the time.
totally.
Listen,
She
no
just-
right
maybe
now.
she just
will
hasn't
be a
gotten
yes later.
Yeah.
Amory.
totally. And if it's never a yes, fair enough. And if it's a yes
Yeah.
tomorrow or next week, great.
Mhm.
That waiting that can build anticipation.
What about when
And
guys
make it
say
kind
no?
of awesome.
We had this on the podcast. This
Oh,
is a callback for the
yeah.
podcast. We're talking about guys saying no and how women don't respect it when guys say no.
Yeah.
No, it's a different beast. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there, but let's just
Yeah.
say that that men can take no a little bit better than women.
Yeah.
They don't like to be told no. So
So you said dating. You said you had a date last night and you have a date tomorrow night. Or
Yep.
tonight.
I have a date tonight.
Is it the same girl or is it a different girl?
No, different woman. Different
Okay.
woman tonight.
So
It's
do
our
you-
first date.
So do you tell
Yes.
women what you do for a living? Like, I am a dating coach.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an expert at
Yeah.
this.
they probably fucking love it, right?
They do. I'm glad. When I became a dating coach, I wasn't sure how women would react if they'd
Yeah.
be kind of skeeved out by it or not. But I do believe in being really genuine and putting the real you out there
Yeah.
in the best light. Of course, you still want to show your best foot forward. And no, women find it really, really interesting, really cool, especially with online dating. I put on my profile. I even say I'm the real life Hitch, looking for Eva Mendes.
It's a good
And
That's a great line.
So
And
all
that's
the blondes are
something-
like, well, shit.
and all the girls under 25 are going, what is Hatch?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
And but in terms of how you guys or your listeners can use that tip, obviously they're not dating coaches, but what I coach guys on doing is, all right, how can I make my profile, my value proposition a different cool shiny object on Tinder
Nice.
or Bumble, right? It's like standing out in a cool way, because being a dating coach lets me stand out in a cool way, at least to women who are open to it. Some might not like it. So what you don't want to do is with your dating profile is get trapped in, I like travel and long walks on the beach and the office. It's like, okay, everybody
That's
does.
every girl's dating profile I've seen.
Yeah. But it's all too many guys as well.
Mhm.
So what you want to do is ask yourself, what's like a 2 or 3 word sort of angle as to who I am? What's a hook where women can read it and instantly get who you are? Because women look at mine and go, oh, he's the real life Hitch. Different, maybe cool. I'm interested. For a guy who's not a dating coach, maybe you're into, like I have a client named Jeremy who we realized his hook is he's a man of extremes.
Man of
He loves
extremes.
5-hour hikes. He does cold plunge. He buys 8 books and reads 2. He's just always into extremes. So
Inefficient.
that's like
I
a
like that.
marketing hook.
Yeah.
Another example would be, I'm trying to think of another one. Oh, I have a client who's just he's just a kind of a nerd.
Mhm.
But guess what? There's a lot of women who like the cool nerd, right?
Mhm.
That's like the revenge of the nerds, right? Some women are into that.
Yeah.
So he plays up the nerdiness. He's a captain at West Point, so there's a cool kind of masculine vibe about that. But also he basically challenges women to out nerd him on his profile.
Okay.
And so women who like nerdy guys, all of a sudden she's seeing a unique value proposition. So when writing your profile or choosing photos, go for a simple hook that says high value but different than maybe every other guy. Just stands out. And it's really just a marketing tactic that works with online dating.
I think there should be profile coaches. Now, I know that you're a dating coach, but I think like almost, you could even have this is a business. Now you hire somebody under you to be the profile coach because like I do think that that some people, I mean, you hear it all the time, people that look better in person, right? Maybe their pictures don't showcase who they really are or whatever and I mean, let's be honest, the pictures are everything. I mean, we read what they write, but we only care about what they write if they look good.
Right. Yeah.
But not everyone knows what picture to choose. Not everyone knows what to really write. And some people don't even know who they are, right? These are all issues. But I think that, like, getting coached on that aspect of the profile, like you were just saying, like what picture to choose, like, choose these kind of pictures, like this, showcase whatever, showcase these things about you, not the things that you like, but like what you bring to the table or whatever it is. I think a lot of people are lacking in that and are probably suffering in the online world, not getting the matches that they should, that they want, that they think they could, because it's not because they don't have a good product. They have a great product, but the product is being marketed terribly.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Brent. So again, I'm not trying to shoehorn a plug in. This is legit.
No, plug
the reason why my book,
plug your shoe.
well, the reason why my book is called Dating Sucks But You Don't, it came from a sentence in my online dating chapter, and the sentence was me basically saying to the reader, you don't suck, your profile sucks. Yeah. Or specifically, your marketing sucks, because what is a dating profile? It's a piece of digital marketing. Yeah. Nothing more. Mm-hmm. It's not dating. Online dating isn't really dating until you talk or meet for the first time. Until then, it's marketing. So the bad news is your marketing sucks. The good news is you just haven't found the right marketing angle. Mm-hmm. You're not conveying the value you have to women in the right way, and that's fixable. It's not about that you lack 6-pack abs or you're 5'7" instead of 6'3". It's that you haven't marketed your best authentic self in a way that gives women those feels, the tingles, that makes her go, oh, like we want her to feel a certain way, right? And that's what marketing is. In the very first episode of Mad Men, one of my favorite shows, Don Draper says, advertising is about one word, happiness. And that's what we want to do. We want to make our profile. Our profile is not about us. It features us, but it's not about us. It's about how she feels. Yeah. So we want to tailor it in a way that gives her the feels, the good feels, the feelies, the tingles. And then when you have that right combination of photos, you look dateable, you're well dressed, well lit, real smile, a bio with some personality, maybe a joke or two, some specifics that show your value proposition. That piece of marketing is what gets you the matches, and then you can start really dating, which is when you meet or talk.
You remember was it Christiana and also Andrea talked about hat fishing? Remember that?
Yep.
Have you ever heard of the phrase hat fishing?
Hat fishing?
Yes.
No. What's that?
It's for bald guys that wear baseball caps in all their photos.
Oh, I love that.
And then you don't realize they're bald until they go on a date, and then you realize that they don't have any hair up there. So I didn't know that was. I didn't know the thing either. So tell your clients no hat fishing.
Yeah, no hat fishing.
I would lead with the baldness.
Yeah,
I'd find a way to. What you can't fix, you feature, right?
Yeah,
what you can't.
I would find a way to lead with it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That is a good.
I should get your book.
You know what? That's gonna be your next book, please. What you can't fix, you feature.
Totally.
I do like that. That's
totally.
a great. That's the name of this podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
You just named the podcast.
Yep.
Well, it's like Avis. Avis can't fix the fact that they're number 2. They turn that into their slogan. We're number 2, so we try harder. Right?
Yeah.
If you can't fix your baldness, then I don't know. Make your profile 5 awesome things about being a bald badass man.
Yeah.
Now you're having fun with it. Yeah. And guess what? Women don't give that many shits about your hair anyway.
I'll say for me, because I grew up when I mean, I've had a stutter like pretty much my whole life growing up. So I used to really kind of hide that. And socially, I would say I didn't really do a lot of things until later on. But what I learned was, I mean, I'm a DJ as well. So I'll hop on the mic, or I'll do a podcast, or do these things where it's like, hey, put yourself out there and show people, like, yeah, I have it a little bit here and there, but
Yeah.
part of who I am.
Well, do you mention that, Jesse, on dates? Do you talk about that?
It comes
Or does
up
it come out, if I may
eventually.
ask?
Well, Jesse is a
okay.
driver who is.
Well, I am in a relationship
Yeah.
currently, but I
Okay.
mean, it does come up here and there, but no, I don't. I don't
No.
think I ever like bring
No,
attention
girl,
to it.
girl, let-
unless-
Has the
girls
girl ever
don't,
brought it
girls,
up?
girls don't care about.
Yeah, have they ever
like,
brought it up? Anybody ever brought it up?
Girls don't care about this with Jesse. They don't care.
Well,
about
yeah, I
his
mean, look
stutter.
at them. I mean, no one.
Yeah,
They don't.
no,
care.
they don't.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about his stutter. I know
Well,
Jesse, and
I
I've
think-
never heard one girl go like, "Oh, but his stutter."
It
Like
used
they
to
don't.
fuck with me though. It used to really
Yeah,
like
it fucks
it's
with
like,
you, but they don't care.
Yeah. But anyway,
Right. I
so
think one of the tips I give guys is, again, don't do this so much as a move. Just know that it helps you when it organically happens, which is to find something vulnerable to talk about and to admit to.
Yeah.
And it could be a stutter. It could be like, I've had first dates where I talk about what a dorky, dateless loser I was.
Yeah.
I once flew cross country to the one woman in North America who liked me, and I surprised her. She didn't know it. I flew cross country. We'd never met in person, and I delivered a box of Victoria's Secret lingerie
ooh,
and a dozen roses
good call.
Okay.
to sweep her off her feet, and she promptly ghosted me, and
Oh.
justifiably so. It's like total creepy actions there.
Yeah, Victoria's
Yeah,
Secret.
like
bro.
Damn.
That's a well. first of all, where'd she live?
Well, that
Yeah.
too.
SFs.
San Francisco. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. They don't. Yeah, you. Yeah, you.
Should have
prob-
gotten that honey,
Yeah.
the honey birdette. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was
But-
it? What did you buy her at Victoria's Secret? Was it like the 5 for $25 panties
No,
selection?
no. He said lingerie.
Oh,
I'm
well,
hoping,
yeah,
I'm
well,
hoping
you
you had a
know,
whole
It
full
was
set.
some lingerie. It was some kind of
Wow.
lingerie
Did you know her
and
size?
roses. Yeah. So we
Okay.
talked about this. We
Okay.
talked about this. I felt like I had permission to do that.
Okay.
But I still got on a plane 3,000 miles and flew.
Yeah.
And so that sent her a message that basically said, "Whoa, this guy's too into me too quickly. Does he have any other dating options if he's doing this?"
Yeah.
Right.
So
but
again,
the point of
the
that's-
nice guy, right?
Was that? Yeah. Is that
The nice guy.
Well,
so
nice
that's,
guy and scarcity guy.
Well,
Scarcity of options.
But I think when I was talking about nice guy at the beginning of this, is that guy, and I think that guy it is scarcity guy. It's guy that's he remembers everything and he goes all in, and instead of playing the game a little bit of like, oh,
Yeah.
like cool, like, you know, but I'll see you later, you know, whatever. Like, it's that guy that
Right.
and that's and the only difference between who you really are and that guy was that you acted on it, whatever, which pushed her away. Whereas if you didn't, and you know, maybe waited 3 weeks and made her beg you to come to her, then it would have been, you know, a good outcome. But the fact that you went ahead, which is a natural move to do that, right? If you like a girl, you want to do that, and
Yeah.
it works in the movies, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, I
it
was
doesn't work in
doing-
real life.
Yeah, I'd seen too many movies. I was doing the right thing at the wrong time. If we were already intimate and having a relationship and sexual and like we were kind of a couple or moving that way, okay, then I could do that.
You wouldn't even done
But
it.
we had, I probably wouldn't have. But,
Yeah, exactly.
but what the real big bad wolf there is, that's what a scarcity of options can do to men. I know for a fact that a lot of the men listening to this right now have done big grand gestures that misfired, whether it was love notes after the first date or lingerie or you know, the proverbial standing outside her apartment with the boombox like John Cusack, whatever it is. The reason why men do that, I mean, part of it might just be not knowing what to do at the right time, but it's really about scarcity. It's getting one-itis, getting way too into one woman because she's the only woman you have maybe on the docket. So the fix there, which is again part of what my book's about, it's
Get 3.
let's cultivate a dating life of abundance.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to be a player. Just means you need. Let's
play-
get a
you
few
gotta
good
play the game.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some good options. But anyway, the reason I told that story is on first dates, sure, be funny, be witty, be cool, be all those good things. Don't be afraid to talk about your stutter. Don't be afraid to talk about the dumb thing you did flying cross country. There's something very attractive and powerful about being vulnerable and showing yourself in a bad light. Again, from the past, maybe
Yeah.
not today. As long as she sees that you learned a lesson, that you've grown, that you can laugh about it. I talk about my 9-week marriage on a date because women think it's hilarious, not hilarious, but they think it's compelling. And it's way better to be vulnerable than to try to impress her by being cool and witty and amazing. You're going to connect better if you're just kind of like, this is me, love it or leave it.
But what if you are cool, witty, and amazing? Then what do you do? No,
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I have not gotten there yet. I'm working on
Seriously,
it.
tell me.
Well,
'cause-
it was funny because I did something similar. I was, when I was younger, I was really big into like finding that one girl. And I didn't necessarily mean finding her as far as like I want to be with one girl, but like when I found a girl that fit all my criteria and everything, all the other girls didn't compare to her. So I wouldn't keep dating other girls. I'm like, there she is right there.
Yeah.
Regardless of all these other ones. And if you don't compare to her, then I don't want to have anything to do with you. So I would always focus on one girl. There was a girl
Right.
that I had met. She lived like 2 doors over from an older church buddy of mine and his father. And they knew who she was. They set it up. I got a chance to meet her. She ran track in college. This is, so you know what she's built like. And I met her. We had a birthday on the same day. We had so much in common. I'm like, this is it. And we went out on a date. It went well. And I went over to my buddy's house and I asked him, I said, all right, what do I do now? And he's older. He was like in his 50s. And he's like, what you do now is get a card and get some flowers. And then when she gets home from work, you set it on her door.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. And I did that. And so I knew what time she got home. She gets home around 7 o'clock or so. I got there around 6:45. I got a bouquet of flowers and a card, and I put it on her front door. And I just waited at home, waiting for the phone to ring for her to call and go, oh, my gosh. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited.
He's still waiting.
10 o'clock. I called. I go, hey. She go, hey, what's up? I'm like, I don't know. What's up with you? Oh, no, I just got home. I'm like, so did you see anything?
Are you in love with me now?
And she was like,
oh,
yeah.
yeah. He used the flowers to come into.
Yeah, she was like, oh, yes. Oh, sorry. It was so busy. I was so busy at work today.
Yeah.
I got so tired. Yeah, thank you for those flowers. I was like,
Oh.
and scene. Like, that was... Yeah, I was like closed. I'm like that Homer Simpson gif where you just like fall into the woods.
Yeah,
I mean, it was game over after that. Yeah, so I was like, wow. And it's funny, I never did that again, ever.
Yeah, no, I mean it's.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. I think
Yeah.
we've all done that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I do.
We've all like.
And usually not in our younger years, and then we get older, and girls like, why don't you do this? I'm like, you know what? I did that, and I got
did.
my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I didn't do it
Yep.
anymore.
Yeah. But hey, you learned a lesson from that, right? You got value from that in a way because you learned what not to do,
Yeah.
and
we grew.
that's important.
And
to be
speaking
able
of,
to
as
learn.
we
okay,
and as we come around the home stretch here, what not to talk about on the first date?
Ooh, I was just gonna ask this.
Yeah. Can you give us a thing? I got a couple things, but I want to see, do you have things of what not to talk about on the first date?
yeah. If you follow the golden rule, which is make it about 2 things, you and her. Focus. What's her favorite subject in the world? Herself. It's everybody's, right? What's her second favorite subject on that date? You. You keep it about you and me, you and me, you and me. So if you do that, what you don't want to talk about is politics. You don't want to talk about your jobs in a boring, logical way. So there's kind of this secret sort of superpower of first dates that doesn't come naturally to most men, which I call man-to-woman communication. Basically, it's flirting, it's being emotional, it's basically about strumming emotional strings rather than doing what men do naturally, which is logical,
Strumming their
analytical.
pain with their fingers.
So- Yes,
Kill me
yeah,
softly.
exactly. To quote,
Fuji.
who's that? Fuji's. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it was
So-
covered, but yeah.
So you can talk about almost anything as long as you're doing it in the right way. But when in doubt, keep it about you and me. Avoid politics. Avoid too much boring work talk. But ask her what she loves about her job. Ask her what lights her up. Ask her what she's passionate about. That's great.
Yeah.
Sex is good to talk about, obviously.
Thank you.
So how would you do on the first
Yes.
date? I mean,
Yeah,
the
yes,
appetizer gets in.
Yes,
You
yes.
you got your quesadillas.
Listen, why? Like,
Well, hang on. I'm trying to set it up. I'm trying to set
talk
it
about
up.
the entrees.
I'm trying to set it up. Okay, so is this like after the quesadillas get out and you got the margarita, 2 margaritas in, you just kind of say, so about that whole sex thing, huh?
Yeah,
Am I right?
Totally.
No.
I want to have
First of all,
sex
you don't.
with this margarita.
I don't
I'm
think
about
on a
to-
first date you should be ordering quesadillas. That's very filling. It's not going to make for
You
good
share it. You
sex.
share it. You share it. You don't eat
Um,
one by your whole self.
I
I think
agree
of it
with-
as-
I agree with this.
I think of it obviously no, you don't jump to it that way. You ease into it, right?
You
and
did
by
you
the
see
way,
that
it's
sex
not-
tape. You know.
It's not a magical trick where if you talk about sex, automatically she becomes attracted.
Right. Yeah.
But it's way better talking about sex than Trump, right?
Well, yeah.
Or sports or the
Right.
weather. So talk about something that resonates with both of you.
Right.
And a way to do it is you sort of ease into it. It's like stair steps.
Mhm.
No, I'm not going to throw. So, who was your first sexual experience? Like
Yeah.
5 minutes in. But as we're getting to know each other, I might say, I'm curious. Who was your first kiss?
Okay.
You know, that's a more kind of innocent
Let's
story,
see if I know
right?
'em.
And now we talk about like our first kisses, our first crushes,
Yeah.
and you kind of look for windows into intimate issues. So
Yeah.
you ease into it. I had a video date a couple weeks back with a girl, and we were talking about butt stuff
Butt
Hey.
stuff.
on the first conversation.
Okay.
Popular
Um,
around here.
Very,
Very,
very
very
popular.
much so. That's my go-to.
And it was
Yeah. Love to get
here's
that.
how it happened. It was just we were talking about getting vaccinated, and I said, "Did you
Did you
any
get your
side
ass
effects?"
vaccinated?
I said, "Any side effects? Did you grow a third tail?" And
Ooh,
that led to
yes.
she's like, "No, I grew a second butt," and that led to talking about literally butt stuff, which is again, I have a weird, quirky sense of humor.
Yeah.
We were both kind of weirdos about it, but it's better than how was your day?
Yeah.
What
For
what'd you
sure,
do this
how's your
weekend?
ass?
How's your
Because
ass?
let's
Yeah.
be honest, nobody really gives a fuck. Like at the end of the day, like not, and they always give me a hard time about like making things all about sex. But
Oh boy.
in a sense, in that it's not that it's all about sex, but you're almost you're asking all these bullshit questions about how your day is and this and that to get to not sex, but like a sexual desire. Do you desire me? Do I desire you? Right? And a confirmation of that.
Or you
right?
might be just really interested in their day.
Right.
Okay.
Just on my
And that's
date
when you
on my
leave
date
flowers,
last
and
night.
that's when she
care.
goes.
Because
That's
he
when
loves them and
That's
they
when you
care,
leave.
Brent.
That's
mean,
when
it
you
could
leave
be.
And you're not
flowers.
just an asshole who's just trying
That's
to
when you
fuck.
leave flowers, and then she calls you, or she answers the phone at 10 and goes, "Oh, busy day."
But she wasn't the one, Brent. She wasn't the one.
Yes.
She could have been if you talked about sex and didn't give her flowers.
And Jesse, what do you always say about Brent? And this is why.
This is why you're single.
Okay, I do get that a lot, but I'm single because I'm really good at going
You're
on
too
dates.
real.
Like,
You're too real.
Yeah.
All right, okay, you've known Brent for an hour and 20 minutes now. Is there any advice you think you can give him as far as dating?
Good.
Brent seems like he's got his act together based on everything
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah.
He's got great style,
you.
articulate.
It is.
Seems like he's got a cool. You know what? I would say look at the way Brent is dressed. Guys can learn from like looking at him.
Mhm.
He clearly puts effort into his style.
Mhm.
Cool haircut, beard. Basically says I'm a man.
Mhm.
There's an edge to him. I think actually, and that's a really good word.
What?
I like to give
Cheers.
guys.
Let him finish. Let him-
He's
he's
my
giving you
favorite
props.
guest.
Yeah. We talked about that nice guy problem earlier, right?
Mhm.
And what women want. I like the word edge. Women want a nice guy, but who has a little edge to him.
Mhm.
And you can kind of get a cheat sheet for edge, or you can. What is edge? Edge is showing that authentic strength in your unique offer. But how can we get edge? Put on a cool t-shirt, get a cool haircut, show women that you're putting effort into your look. And that's no khaki pants, no pleated khakis. Be a hot guy, not the helpful Honda guy, right? Be a man with a little bit of
Honda.
edge. When I go on a date, the way I dress says a little bit about me that says to her, oh, this is who this guy is. I mean, I'm not dressed for a date right now, but I put some thought into my shoes, my jeans. I have a ring that I wear sometimes that I got in Barcelona. So that lets me talk about Barcelona and travel, which is
Nice.
cool.
That's good.
So So anyway, looking at Brent, I don't have any advice for Brent. I think that the watchers of this channel and listeners of the podcast should look at the way he dresses, look at how articulate he is, and say, be like Brent.
Thank you.
Look at that.
So
Be like
much.
Brent.
Look at that. He's not gonna let us down for the rest of the
Oh
night.
my
He's
God.
gonna remind us about
I
it.
The
am
dating
not.
coach said, be like Brent.
Yeah.
Yes.
In
I'm
fact,
gonna-
his next book.
And you know what? I'm gonna buy 100 copies of your book, and I'm gonna go out to places tomorrow, and I'm gonna hand them out to people that I think could use this, because you are.
And
a
then you're going
legend.
to sign the book.
Yeah,
As
and I'm gonna sign them
Brent.
as him. Yeah.
I'm the
Yeah.
guy who
Yeah.
said to be like.
No, I was just gonna say. I was gonna say one thing about being on a date, and I'm asking this kind of. It's not even a question, but more seeing it like how you agree. But so we're all in sales, right? And I think that that's another element that I think really does help you in the dating world, because prospecting and dating are almost one and the same in a sense of it's like that, that dance, right? That give and take. But I've always said, just like I say in sales, but the same for dating, like if you're talking more than her, then it's not going well. Like you need to be asking questions to get her talking, right? You need to have her talking. Her talking to the point where she's like, "Oh my God, I'm talking too much," and you're like, "No, I like to listen." Like, and then she's asking you questions, right? Like is that something that you coach your guys on?
I agree with that. Yeah, we deal with that a little bit. The guys, a lot of guys who struggle with dating, I'm a little hesitant of giving them that advice exactly without context, because then they just might interrogate the girl and turn it into an interview, which is not good.
Okay.
But we want it to be a give and take, 50-50, maybe 40-60, you, her.
Okay.
Absolutely. I remember I once had a date years and years ago, and I remember I wasn't in a very talkative mood. I was just in a listening mood, and I just kind of went full like, find out who she is, what she's about. And I barely said anything about myself. That's not good game, but it still happened. And she texted me later that night saying, "You're the most interesting person I've met in a long time."
Funny,
Right?
Because I was asking about her. So to your
Right,
point,
yeah.
absolutely. All that said, I like to think of it as a 50-50, 40-60 kind of proposition. You don't want to do 80. Absolutely, don't do 80% of the talking. At the same time, women hate interview mode, feeling like they're on 60 Minutes. Unless they're good questions,
Yeah.
and you take turns, which is great, totally fine to do that. So don't fear asking questions. We just want to ask the good questions, right? We want to ask questions like, what was the best day of your life? Or what lights you up? What do you love to do? Don't say, how long have you been at that job? Say, what was the single most triumphant moment you had at your job when you just crushed it? Get her to focus on really good stuff that turns her on, lights her up.
That's good.
Because if she lights up, she's going to associate all that positivity with you,
That's awesome.
and that's just going to make the date go better.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
No, and that's kind of leading into my second question of like, like almost like a game, not like like treating the date as a game, but like, do you have any sort of like when you're talking to your clients, like, hey, like almost like a game to where you have these questions or these things, or if you notice it's getting kind of stale, like try this to kind of spice it up a little bit to like, keep it fresh?
Great question. I think that women have different blueprints. This could be a whole book, or definitely a whole other podcast, but there's only a
Helen Keller
handful of
blueprint book. Sorry, we just have
Well,
to
you
get
know
the
the-
Helen Keller in there.
well, you know the book, The 5 Love Languages. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
I believe, I don't know how many there are. I'm still formulating this, but I think there's like a small handful of flirting languages, courtship, basically romance, flirting languages. And so you want to kind of be aware if the way you're talking with her is resonating with her. And there have been women who I have a real kind of fun, silly, teasing banter with, and they love it. And it's like dials things up, and it's a blast. And if I tried that exact same approach on a different woman who's more logical and kind of sincere and just wants to connect emotionally, that's going to misfire. So I think the answer is a bit of I'm not trying to be vague in the answer, but you want to kind of just see what's working. Do the jokes make her laugh?
Right.
Does getting sexual connect with her?
Right.
Is she more about emotional connection? Notice what works. And then once you kind of hit on something, if you feel comfortable doing that, then basically turn that knob up a little bit and kind of try to find out what her blueprint is. But you're right. The pillars, the foundation here is you, me. Tonight's about finding out how you and I connect as a man and a woman, and then everything else I said notwithstanding, just have fucking fun.
Yeah.
If you have fun, if she laughs, good things are gonna happen most dates.
And I think that's something to note is you're not going to connect with everyone.
Yeah.
True.
You know, like I remember going out with the girl that I could not wait to go out with. Like the hottest girl every, like, oh my God. Like, and our banter prior to meeting up was incredible. And we met and then we went out and it was stale.
Yeah.
And it just
That sucks.
and I remember, like, thinking back, I remember, like, the moment that we first met, like, when we hadn't met in person, but the moment, like, I met her, like, at my apartment building door, and, like, she came in, and it was COVID, so it was kind of weird, but, like, we met, and, like, I went in for, you know, a friendly hug, like, not a creepy full-on, like, you know what I mean, like a hug,
Yeah,
like, we're meeting to go on a date, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, we're doing hugs, and, like, just,
Yeah.
and I
We're
thought
doing
back,
hugs.
We're doing hugs.
right, and I thought
We're
back,
doing hugs.
right,
already.
yeah, and I thought back, and I was like, man, instantly, like, it was off, like, it was off, and it would have been up to me to right that ship, but I think, and it's tough to say because, like, you know, I guess, what do you, like, throw in the flag before you even go and go, like, you know what, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, you go,
That's like a Seinfeld thing. Like, I would love to have done that, but, like, you know, sometimes it just is not going to work. Or can you reprogram your brain to go, like, this isn't going to work the way that I'm going, but maybe if I flip it.
Yeah.
Or is this not everything, like, supposed to work out? And you just, like, you know, sometimes people just don't, like, it's like two magnets the same side.
Right.
They just just don't go together, you know?
Well said. I had back-to-back dates 2 weeks ago. Night number 1, beautiful woman, ex-model, gorgeous, cool. We had good texting vibe. And we just didn't connect, didn't click.
Yeah.
And I'll admit it, you know, Mr. Dating Coach has an ego too. I'm like, oh man, would have been so great to hook up with that model or have something happen. And that might have put pressure on me, which might have hurt me. And next night I had another date, another awesome, beautiful woman, not a model, but just a quote unquote regular awesome woman. And I saw almost instant interest and attraction from her.
Mm-hmm.
And because it came on back-to-back nights, I realized, oh wow, I'm the same guy both nights. I didn't do anything wrong with the model. Yeah. I just wasn't her. She likes the Stones. I'm the Beatles. Hey, Beatles are the greatest band ever. She just wants the Stones, maybe. Yeah. And that's cool. That's cool too.
You just had to make it come together, you know?
Yeah. Right now.
Yeah. All right. So May 11th, the forthcoming book, Dating Sucks, But You Don't. Can you hold the book up one more time?
Yes,
I will get a copy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can we get 4 copies signed by you?
We
like, you know,
pay money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And mention on Brent that he's the guy that you want everyone to be like. So make sure you put that in.
Thank you
Brent's
so
book,
much.
So.
Yeah. I'll be in your next book.
That's gonna be the only clip he's gonna take from this and put it on his Instagram. He's gonna put that clip right there
on our Instagram, on everyone's. Thank you.
All right, Carl Barrett, man, from New York, man. We're gonna come up there when all this is over. We're gonna come up to New York. We got some other podcast friends up there. We're gonna go up there and say what's up to you guys, man. Because let's be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see. I'm gonna do a lot of travel this year. I'm fully vaxxed.
Oh yeah,
vaxxed and waxed.
I got a couple clients near you guys, and let's have a double in person soon.
Love it. Come to Dallas. You're gonna be sitting right here with us, right here. This is where you're gonna sit, right here.
Hey, real quick,
count on it.
Where's your favorite place to grab a drink over there in New York?
Over there in New York.
I'm going tonight to my favorite first date bar. It's called The Other Room.
The Other Room.
And what's
Which
great
area?
about it? It's in West Village.
Yeah.
And it's a great spot because for a first date, especially during COVID, which is still ongoing, at least for a while, it's great to have a spot where you can sit next to each other, right? Where you're not across from each other like you're having a tax review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to be next to them. And a great first date spot is is any place that lets you kind of be next to her, and you could touch, appropriately, but touch, interact,
Hell yeah.
feel closer. And anyway, so that's where I'm going tonight. The other
West
room
Village.
is my favorite cocktail spot. Yeah.
I like it.
I like
All right. Well, Connell, thank you.
Well, when he comes back, he's gonna take me and do the dating coach thing, like at a bar with me, like and he's gonna be like whispering in my ear, like we're gonna do this, and we're gonna film it, like we're gonna.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a great bit.
I like
yeah,
that.
it's a good bit.
I like. You need to see his dating coach, by the way, too. You need to see Brent's alter ego. He
is the coach.
He's the coach. So you need to go to his Instagram and check out the coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
And picture him being a dating coach, and then I'll let your brain take it where you want to go.
All right. I'll look forward to that. Thank you guys for having me on so much. It was a blast.
All right, thank you so much, man. We are out. Be sure to follow us on I'll Have a Double Podcast on Instagram and I'll Have a Double on Facebook and I Had Podcast on Twitter. Everywhere you find your podcast, we are there. Thank you, YouTube. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, leave comments. Ladies, leave comments. I didn't tell you this, Connell, but most of our listeners, 60% of our listeners are women.
69%.
Yeah. They're a majority women, by the way. So
Nice.
a lot of women listening. Be sure to comment. And guys, we are out, man. This is one of the most educated shows we've had.
I know.
Oh
I've
yeah,
learned so much. Like a sponge.
I want to say I've learned a lot, but I feel like we're like the same person.
Oh,
I
here
feel
we
like
go.
we're like,
my
I know a lot of
All
these
right.
things. You know?
Okay. Brent's book will be out
Okay,
soon.
Brent.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Write a book, okay, bud.
Be like Brent, everybody.
Be like All right, everybody. I am Juan B.
I'm Brent Crable.
I am Jessica Cool.
That is Connell Barrett, and we will see you guys later. You could have been checking out any podcast in the world, but you're checking it out ours, and we appreciate that, and we'll see you later. Peace.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.